Inmate John Watson, aka Cannon, aka Babe Ruth. He's been doing a life sentence for over 10 years. He decided he just wanted to do some easy time. He stayed low key, got into a substance abuse program in Corcoran State Prison. After spending half of his sentence in confinement for assaults, stabbings, he finally made it to the program. Watson gets into the program, looks around, and sees nothing but child molester, scum, chomo piece of shit. In an open letter that he wrote to multiple media platforms, he would go on to say, "Yo, what the fuck am I doing in here? I thought I was gonna come in here and do easy time. I walked in here, I looked around. First I see a chomo, fucking rapist, pedophile piece of shit watching PBS kids show, almost mocking us. I walked away, but I couldn't go to sleep that night. Not one to act on impulse, he stayed up all night, regretting the fact that he knew when he was going to enter here, there would be some trash, scum, chomos. Sometimes inmates go there because they want to do easy time, or sometimes inmates go there because they want to destroy a pedophile. Yet he would do what any good man would do. Before, he would beat two chomos to death with a walking cane. He walked up to an officer and said, "You know what? I can't be here. Take me back to the level 3 yard. I'm gonna kill these child molesters in here." The officers do what they do and laughed, shook it off, kept it moving. So Watson took that as a green light. Sometimes things aren't always what they seem, but it sounds good to me. You know what I mean? So he keeps walking and he sees somebody he's familiar with. And they both look up and they see the chomo. David Bobb, 48 years old, convicted child molester for molesting a child under the age of 14. So him and his friend, in amazement, as he's watching PBS, a kid show. It's either he's mocking us, or he's just getting off on this, or both. But there's no way this could ever go unchecked again. So they talk about it, and Watson said, "Don't worry about it." He grabs the cane, walks up to the inmate's cell, and beats him to death with the cane. Then he said, "You know what? I don't want to get this whole place popping off, riot. I'm just going to go up to the officers and turn myself in." As he was walking with the cane, he looked in the cell and said, "Oh, wait a minute. This piece of shit was part of one of the biggest sex trafficking ring of minors. He's a molester. Let me go talk to him real quick." Graham DeLewis Conti was sitting in his cell as Babe Ruth, aka the Cannon, came in there to practice his batting average. And yes, he's still batting 1,000. He would end up beating his brains in until he ultimately would die from his wounds. Both chomos were serving life sentences with the possibility of parole for aggravated sexual assault of children under the age of 14. Both died from severe blunt force trauma to the head by Babe Ruth, as he would go 2 for 2 on home runs. The letter that Watson wrote went like this: "I was mulling it all over when along came molester number 1, and he put his TV right on PBS Kids again," he wrote. "But this time, someone else said something to the effect of, 'Is this guy really gonna watch this right in front of us?' And I, Watson, recall saying, 'I got this,' picked up the cane and went to work on him." After he hit that home run, Watson then went to find a guard and confess, but something stopped him along the way. "As I got to the lower tier," he said, "I saw a known child trafficker, and I figured I'd just do everybody a favor," Watson would write. After batting practice, the rest of the letter went like this: "In for a penny, in for a pound." Watson then said he told a guard, but the guard didn't even believe him until he looked around the corner and saw the mess I'd left in the dorm area. Gang intelligence officer wrote to the news, "This guy should have never been housed with those chomos." It's documented, Watson said, he told them, "I can't be housed here, and that's admirable. That's a deviation from a normal prison general population behavior. The culture is, if you're comfortable, to do something about it. The fact that he did seek out the administration shows he was trying to do his time." Or sometimes you get put in a place where you know you want to maybe cover your ass a little bit because you know they don't care about these chomos. It's very admirable that he went to the officers and then said, "You know what? They're right. I should go play baseball with these chomos' heads," and then blame it on the administration. As sometimes people work so hard to get to these, easier time places. They get there, and within a month, two chomos end up dead. And the staff probably didn't believe it would happen since he worked so hard to get there. These are two of the worst chomos you can come across. Traffickers, molesters to the highest level. Watson, however, had a different view. He called the transfer a careless mistake and said a child molester eventually moved into his pod. The inmate, who Watson identified as molester number 1, watched PBS Kids in full view of other inmates, which Watson viewed as a taunt, according to the news outlet. Watson would later go on to say, "I could not sleep, having not done what every instinct told me I should have done right then and there. So I packed all of my things because I knew one way or another the situation would be resolved the following day." He claims he told a prison counselor that he wanted to be moved back to a level 3 security, but he was scoffed at. He would close the letter out by saying, "Being a lifer, I'm in a unique position where I sometimes have access to these people, and I have so little to lose." Watson wrote in his letter, adding that molesters are every parent's worst nightmare, who can change a child's life forever. That's the reality of prison for all you motherfuckers hurting kids out there. You got a guy that will play smooth, lay low for 5 years just so he can get in the dorm and kill 2 child molesters. The officers are gonna laugh about it. The COs, the psychiatrists, they do not give a fuck. The fact that these pieces of shits have parole, it can't happen. Time doesn't exist, only opportunity. As you guys see, Babe Ruth batting 1,000. It's no secret that Watson played it cool for 4 years with a history of violence, doing a life sentence for murder. Gets to one of these 50-50 dorms where they got chomos and all these just horrible people functioning together. You got David Bobb. He was convicted of child molestation with a history of child sex abuse charges. Bobb's crimes include sexual abuse of minors, which led to his incarceration at Corcoran. His reputation in prison marked him as a target for individuals like Watson who believed in punishing sex offenders. We all know Bobb's head was bounced off the floor while he was watching Sesame Street on PBS. He was killed by John Watson in 2006. Watson reportedly killed him while he was watching PBS in his cell. Watson's motive, according to his writing, was driven by a strong moral code to protect children from sexual offenders. De Luz Cante was convicted of human trafficking, including sexual exploitation of minors. His crimes were deeply linked to organized trafficking rings which involved the abuse and exploitation of young people. Just like PBS bounce on the ground faced Bob, De Luz Cante was seen as a predator in the prison system. His actions involved not only abusing minors, but also trafficking them for sexual exploitation, a crime that is viewed as unforgivable by many within the prison culture. As we know, De Luz Cante, his head was used for batting practice with a wooden cane. He would ultimately break Sosa's home run record on his head. That's the realities of it all. Everybody finds a way. Some people really get close with God, right with themselves and family, sometimes all three. That's what I did. And then also we add a fourth thing to make society better. We go after these chomo, these child molesters, these rapists at all measures possible. So many times in prison, you would think a guy was changing his ways, trying to get to a lower type of unit, only to get there where the chomos have their guards down, where they think they can watch PBS and mock and laugh in these little shitty ass, just trash sides of the prisons. And then a dude waited 4 years to get there, only to beat their brains in. The officers weren't laughing at him. In their minds, they were like, "Thank you, man. Every day we got to go to work and feed these piece of shits that took advantage of the most beautiful, vulnerable people in our society." So all in all, Babe Ruth, aka the Cannon, aka John Watson, will get sentenced to another life sentence and another life sentence on top of his life sentence. But like he said, he feels that he made the world a safer place, and the transfer was 100% a mistake. So all you child molesters and rapists that think you're gonna go to some chill PC area, it doesn't exist. You're just prolonging the inevitable. In prison, I got right with God, got right with my family, got right with myself, and I made sure to do community service work, play razor tag with these chomos. Stay out, stay free, us.